I don't think so.
Welcome to Title Adam in the House, the podcast where Florida real estate gets real. Buyers, sellers, builders, and lenders. If you're in the game, then you belong in the house. Let's get you to the closing table fast and with less stress. Let's go. It's Title Adam. Thanks for joining us. We're here in the sunny studios of Premier Reputation Title. Our office is in Estero on Corkscrew Road, just off of 41. I have a beautiful location in Bonita Springs as well. If you're buying, selling, building, refinancing, or doing a deal in Florida, tag me in. I'm local and licensed. I can't wait to help. Now, today I've got some friends in with me in the house, Brian and Sal from Miniopolis. We're here to discuss a lot of things that are going on in the local marketplace. If we do a great job today, we're going to be able to learn a little bit more about the current and upcoming projects at Miniopolis. We're going to talk a deep dive into the Innovate Act. We're going to update you a little bit on the petition to increase Florida's homestead exemption to $100,000. We're going to talk a little bit about controversies in today's marketplace, and then we're going to end the episode today with a big congratulations to one of our special guests. Thanks again, guys, for showing up, making time in your schedule to be here. It's always a treat to see you both.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. That was in stereo. I like that. I'm in the middle, so I heard you both at the same time. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on at Miniopolis. The last time Brian and I met and we were on the podcast together, we talked a little bit about a development that was taking shape in North Fort Myers. We talked a little bit about some work that he's doing in Charlotte County. We also talked about a community that's near and dear to me, Lehigh Acres. Brian, what's new right now with Miniopolis?
Well, there's always something exciting going on in Minneapolis, whether it's policy reform, legislative changes, or the projects that we advocate and we're excited about, like the upcoming developments, some single-family infill lots.
Yep.
But I'll be honest, I have a superstar on my team, and that's Sal DiBenedetto. He knows everything about what's going on in the project, so I'd love for him to talk about it.
Yeah, Sal, what's going on out there?
Yeah, so we got a lot of exciting projects coming down the pipe, including but not limited to 11 single-family builds throughout the state of Florida. One we're actually breaking ground on as we speak over in Brevard County. And we actually have two planned developments in the Southwest Florida area, one of them being in North Fort Myers with 57 3D printed units, as well as another one in the works in Immokalee with roughly 70 units. So a lot of exciting things coming down the pipe, and we're only expecting it to grow from here.
Well, that's huge. And you just rattled off a lot of really big projects, but I did hear you say Brevard County. Now, I know that from a geographic standpoint, now your footprint is expanding within Florida. How does that impact the level of engagement that you can have with your projects when they're spread like that? Does that speak a little bit maybe to the team that you've built?
To be honest, I'm grateful for our project management team. We have a great team, communication's great, and thankfully with the use of technology, we're huge on both on the construction side and on the sales side, we're able to maintain communication and keep tight timelines to make sure everything is still on track, even though it is a little further from our main office.
Now, Brian, I'd love to hear you say, I'd love to hear your team use technology. And both of these guys came in with some sweet branded polos today, Miniopolis. And on the back, they've got their branding, which is the hashtag. We're going to actually put it in the show notes. We'll put it on the screen here. Guys, tell us, what's the hashtag we should be tagging when we're talking about Miniopolis?
Tiny Home Builders.
Tiny Home Builder. It's on every one of our polos.
Awesome. Hashtag Tiny Home Builders. Look for it on social media. And when you happen to tour Miniopolis project, make sure that you tag them in social media as well. Brian and Sal are both active on social media. Matter of fact, Sal, you hold a lot of networking events once a month in downtown Fort Myers. I was able to come to the last one and kind of hang out. And I would like to just brag and say that I made some new connections. It wasn't just the same people that I always see at every mixer handing out the same business card that I've already gotten before. I've already lost it between my car seats. Your networking group was maybe a testament to those relationships that you're building and how you leverage technology as well. I really enjoyed that. When's your next one coming up?
So the last Wednesday every month, we have a networking event downtown Fort Myers at Millennial Brewing House. Our next one's going to be next week on the 24th. I know I bug a lot of people. I'm super active on LinkedIn about it, trying to get new people to attend. So anybody watching this, if you want to make some new connections in the construction development or brokerage world, we'll be there. We'll be happy to meet you and introduce you to some great people.
I think it's important to add, just like you mentioned, Adam, when you're meeting somebody new, it takes your business, it could possibly take your business to a whole nother level. It's just that one handshake away from changing your business forever. So attending any networking event is a key component of growing your business.
Yeah, I know that at this last one, Brian had kind of pulled me up to a conversation he was having with someone and said, I think you need to hear Adam's pitch about the petition. And I was able to pitch it in a quick 30-second format and was able to make a very powerful new connection. So I would look to that and say that we all tend to get a little jaded when it comes to networking groups because the value is not always perceived. But I can tell you that this one in particular, and I was going to ask you if you had it as a set location every month then. So you've actually partnered with the brewery. So we know it's going to be was it the last Wednesday?
Yes.
Is that right? Of each month. And so now we're in September, already wrapping up the third quarter. We'll be there this Wednesday coming up then. That's an event that you don't want to miss. If you've never been to the brewery before, there's a lot of space there as well. So it's comfortable. You can have a lot of fun there. And they have non-brewery drinks there as well that you can enjoy. So it's a nice family environment. I know that I saw children around when we went there before, and it's awesome. Shout out to Millennial Brewing for holding that event for you each month. And I can tell you, having attended one and looking forward to many more. That's awesome news. So we've got the projects. Let's kind of dive into each one just quickly. I know you said that you have the project in Brevard. I know about that. I know about the project that's kind of taking shape in North Fort Myers. I know about some of the infill lot work that we talked about last time. You mentioned Immokalee, and I just wanted to kind of hit on that because Immokalee is an area that a lot of people don't think about when they're having conversations about Southwest Florida, but it's a huge market. There's a lot of opportunity in a market like that. And when I think about tiny homes, I'm thinking about the opportunity to maybe build with a density that would serve that community and that population. Are you able to talk a little bit about what's going on out there in Immokalee?
It's still in the very early stages. We're working on this project in partnership with a development, specifically a nonprofit organization. And their ultimate goal is to build affordable housing. Well, what better company than Miniopolis to provide single family homes that meet that market for affordable housing. And in this particular development, it allows for exactly what you're discussing, that increased density where people still have a single family home. They have their front yard, their backyard, they're cooking barbecues. They've got their pet running around in their fence yard, right? That's what we all want. That's the American dream.
Yeah.
So we're excited to be involved in that project. So definitely noticeable that we're gaining traction and people understand not only is affordable housing in demand, but people want single family homes. How do we make opportunities out of this? So we're fortunate.
So that's interesting you say that, Brian, because that's, Immokalee's Collier County, and we hear a lot of people talk about the challenges of working within Collier County. I actually was scrolling through my Facebook feed yesterday, and I saw you had a presentation in front of Collier County. Was it the Planning Commission?
It was the legislative delegation.
Legislative
They're
delegation.
preparing for a session now coming up in November where they're presenting new legislative bills to essentially be passed. So what they do in these legislative delegations is they invite state representatives and senators to hear the community. What's going on? How can we help? What information do we need to carry from our local community to the state level? That is what those meetings are for.
Now, I saw you were able to speak in front of that delegation. So you were positioning the Innovate Act to them as a must hear, must read, must see. I want to talk about the mechanics of it, why everyone should be behind it, and then the logistics of actually making it happen. So let's start with the Innovate Act. Talk about it.
3 main points: build smarter, build stronger. That's the first point. What does that mean? We're in Florida. We're susceptible to high wind hurricanes and heat. We're in Florida. So how do we mitigate from that? And how will that affect us if we do it right the first time? Well, if we have homes that are built for Category 5 hurricanes, guess what happens? Your insurance bill goes down. Guess what else happens? You don't have to use local resources to run off to a shelter and be housed there temporarily.
Yep.
What else happens? Your home stays in great condition. Therefore, you can stay living there and not exhaust local funds. It's important that we build correctly the first time. And what drives me up the wall is the fact that we have federal and state and even local grants that go towards housing that are built out of wood. What happens to wood in Florida, Adam?
It's gone. Rots. I mean, water, like everything that you said.
Termites.
Yeah.
It's just not done correctly. So even if it was just with the funds that are coming from state and federal government, if we just use that correctly, that'd be a great start.
Yeah.
But I also think we should support innovation in this space. There's too many people that are comfortable. Comfort is a problem. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And they're building homes like they have in the last 50, probably 100 years. Well, there's innovation, and there's not enough people implementing that. What are some of those innovative products? Insulated concrete form, structural insulated panels, 3D concrete printing. These are all just different types of structural materials. What protects you and your family? So using this and incentivizing, with access to funding or grants really helps builders like us that want to make Florida housing better. That's the first point. Bigger, build better and smarter.
Okay. I like that a lot. I like that, Brian, because I think that brings us back to a time that's past, a time when they would say they don't build them like that anymore. And when they would say they don't build them like that anymore, there were two things about it. One, the wood might have been stronger wood, older wood, these beams that they used. The second was the workmanship, the quality of the work. And I think that, we've all seen over decades in home building, we've seen things like Chinese drywall come up. We've seen all of these different mini controversies or supply chain issues that have changed the way that we actually build that final product. And so when you talk about the Innovate Act and you talk about build smart and build right, I'm going to put it in, what was the actual that you said?
Build strong and build
smart. Build strong and build smart. Then you're saying that you're going to address those two things.
Right.
And, it's funny because a lot of things in society today are not built to last. A lot of things today are built to serve a short period and be thrown away or recycled.
Right.
And I'd like to see us get back to a time when you pay good money for your home, but your home takes good care of you. And that starts with the quality of the build. It starts with the quality of the materials and the workmanship. So, okay, so that's point one. Well taken by Title Adam. What's next?
You brought up a great point when
Jump
it comes
on it.
to how things were built and the craftsmanship. That's so important. Why? The amount of the demand for housing that we require right now, we can't keep up with it with our current workforce. Why? There's not enough people jumping into the construction industry to learn it.
Yeah.
So we need products that are built easier, smarter, and faster, but
Fewer
still
people.
maintaining that structural integrity.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. So I was just so wrapped up in that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and that is a big part of it. And like I said, I think that some people think that you have to build with a T-square to build a good product. And that's not true. You can use AI, you can use technology. You're actually printing homes now. And so it's not a matter of we need to go back to hand saws. It's a matter of just really leveraging technology in a way that provides a superior product at the end of the day. That's what's exciting. But then I start thinking, well, if that's the case, then if you build it right and you build it smart and strong, then what does that do to the repair industry down the road? I don't know. I mean, obviously that would be something that in a perfect world, I wouldn't have to call the handyman as often. I wouldn't need it because you've built such a nice product.
I think that's the dream.
Yeah.
To not have maintenance costs or as low as possible.
Yeah.
And you want to invest right one time. A good story. My mom would always say when we were out to go buy a TV back in the days when they used to be big boxes, she would go down the aisle, look at all the TVs. And once we figured out what size we wanted, she goes, okay, which one's the best one? I'm like, Mom, that's going to be expensive. She's like, I only want to buy it one time.
Yeah. Fine.
Whoa.
Yeah, and she may still have that TV. You know what I mean? Because some of those tube TVs are good,
She won't get rid of it.
Yeah, that's right. I would be proud to do that with a home. And like I said, I think that when you look around, I live in Lehigh Acres, so a lot of the old homes are from the late 70s, really. They're not that old, but they were built okay. And I'd like to see homes that could stand the test of time, that could stand up to the elements that we're just battered with in Florida. Like you said, heat, rain, wind, there's all kinds of stuff. And then you have the flying projectiles that come with the wind. And so building a home securely is a smart investment today. I think it's probably one of the best ones that you could make. And that said, you've also taken efficiency plays where you've been able to deliver a product that has a superior build than to a stick build. Right. And you've been able to give it in a shorter time frame with a comparable price per square foot from everything I've seen anyways. It's not, there's no gimmick priced in to where you're like, yeah, I paid an extra $35 a square foot for it, but I get to tell people I have a tiny home. And we've talked through this before. Right. This is actually about having just a really strong, energy efficient product.
Safe home. And you brought up another good point. It's the fact that a lot of this innovation hasn't been massively adopted is one of the reasons that it's still at par with comparables like CMU block, for example, which is what most homes are made of in coastal areas. Yeah. And what most people don't realize is the more you use it, the less it starts to cost, the more people demand it. So that is a big part of our push. It's let's teach the youth on how to use these materials. Let's create a bigger demand for it. Let's bring down those costs because essentially they're better products than what already exists.
Yeah, I think that a lot of kids today, I've got 4 boys that are in high school right now, and they're learning stuff that in future years is going to be applied to things that you're talking about, things that haven't even come up yet. We're talking about drafting. We're talking about the 3D printing. We're talking about code. We're talking about things like that. The youth of today has to jump on board with that, but they need something like what you're doing to get them engaged and to see what that would be like. And I think that that's really special. Back to the Innovate Act, we know that you've described some of kind of what the impetus is of it, but go a little deeper.
Okay, so point 2. I got my brain back.
Yep, go for it.
Point 2. You get me so excited, Adam, man. I just...
You're in the house, man.
Yeah. So point number 2, access to funding. A lot of people think, well, this is just for the builders, right? Just for the contractors. Not necessarily. I'll tell you why. We have a big issue when it comes to access to funding. Why? Most lenders right now in the private sector require a lot, essentially a lot of requirements that is set up for big firms. So these big firms, they're in the space, they easily get money thrown at them. Smaller organizations don't. It makes it more complicated. So we're limited on what we can do. Now, how does that translate to the end customer? Well, these bigger organizations have been around longer. They demand a different lifestyle. Guess who's paying for it? The small builders, on the other hand, who know the same things, smaller crews, smaller overhead. Guess how does that translate to the end customer? Smaller cost. So by supporting access to funding, that allows small builders like ourselves and our teams and our fellow colleagues to be able to enter the space, specifically in affordable housing. And it's not a challenge. We can help solve that problem if we can only open access to funding.
Yeah, you've got to be able to compete. Exactly. And to be able to step up with some of these larger production builders. And so, like you said, the people that have the money to create change. And what I found with my own work with the petition is that lobbying is really hard work. And it's one thing to say I swing a hammer for a living and I build homes, and that's admirable and honorable. Right. But the work that goes into actually creating change in the legislature to allow you to compete, to allow you to ultimately bring, that superior product to the market, that's hard work. It's discouraging work. There's a lot of people out there that don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to be able to compete. They don't want you to have a level playing field. And so for you I've watched you go before that delegation and kind of outline your passion for it. That's people that are working with you, vendors, other real estate agents, title companies, insurance agents that are working with you, they all owe a debt of gratitude to you guys for going and pushing that. Because when you push that, you're pushing, I will get more title orders. I'm going to write more title insurance policies, and all of that. We definitely want to be there to support the Innovate Act. Where the Act stands today, how far in are we? Do we have support? Do we have a number of signatures that you can share with us as there? I know I signed on.
Yes.
Where are we at with
Well,
it?
thank you for the support, first
Yeah,
of all.
course.
Not only yourself, but sharing it amongst your platform.
Yep.
Right now, we have about 45 endorsements. Now, what type of people are included in those endorsements are developers, lenders, title agencies, consumers of this type of product.
Somebody saying, I'm going to want this, or I'm somebody that could benefit from this. And they back you that way.
Right.
That's organic support. That's good.
So there's a lot of organic support. I think you put it perfectly there. What we're missing right now is the elected officials. So essentially, in order for this bill to move up the ladder, it needs to be supported by a House representative and a senator. There's some in queue right now where they have it in their hands and they have to make a decision before November. So all I can do is continue to raise awareness. Hopefully it falls on strong ears that can make a difference. It's not just about Miniopolis. Right. We're advocates for this space, but we're making a difference in small local builders. I keep going in and out here. We're making a support in small local builders, lending, real estate, just overall in general construction and real estate.
It's a win for the industry. And I like that. I like when you can step outside of your business, which obviously, this is America. We're building our business and we're protecting our dream. But it's nice when you can do something that's going to benefit the industry. And I think that that's something that it makes it a lot easier for people to get behind. It makes it easier for me to get behind it when it's something that, if you told me, hey, this is something that would benefit me, well, I like you and I would do it to help you. But if you said it could also help you, then I'm really motivated and I'll share it with others. And so that's why I wanted to talk about the Innovate Act and let people know that, Brian, at this point, we're in a full court press then. This is it. We're pushing from now, we're in mid-September until November. You don't have a lot of time. We've got 6 weeks to really talk about this and get people. I'm going to make sure to link your endorsement page, and we should be able to get some more people on it. One thing that I've always overlooked when it comes to this is that you can have a lot of people that like you and your grandma can like it, but you need the decision maker. You need that person that can actually drive it to get behind it. And so if you're watching this, if you're listening to this podcast, listen, sign this petition, get behind the Innovate Act. This is something that's going to be great for our state. It's going to be great for Brian and Sal. It's going to be great for our industry. If you're watching this, you likely have ties or affinity to the real estate market. This is what we're talking about, doing things that drive real change for our communities. Brian, thank you for that on the Innovate Act. I'd love to switch gears and talk a little bit about the petition to increase the homestead exemption in Florida to $100,000. Now, there's 67 counties in the state of Florida, and TitleAtom.com has a link to each one, but each of those counties stand to gain from increasing the homestead exemption to $100,000. Today, you can get to 50, and that's not reflective of the real estate market. The last time this was addressed, real estate values were a fraction of where they are today. People need real relief. We live in a state where there's senior citizens that are making decisions on which prescription they will fill this month if they're able to do one at all. We have first-time home buyers that are right now getting their very first property tax bill in the mail, and they will have sticker shock, especially if it was new construction last year. So as you're looking at your trim notice this year, I'd like for you to ask yourself, what would $500 savings mean to your household as we slide right into holiday season 2025. Now, the truth is, tax bills are set for this year. It is what it is. At this point, we're working towards 2026 and beyond. And believe it or not, we do have to start working right now to get the support to get this in front of the decision maker. I want to make a quick comment because I've gotten a lot of support. Brian, thank you for signing. Sal, I know you signed as well. If you haven't yet signed, take a quick moment and sign this petition. But to the people that have remarked that it's not enough, that it is a waste of time, I would just like to ask you to please reconsider that. And I would tell you that if we don't start somewhere, we will get nowhere. The politicians in Florida and in this country would love for you and I to argue about this topic until the cows come home, while they continue to bill you full rate for your property taxes. We have to find a spot to put our foot in and then work from there. So I would love to see no property taxes for homestead. I'd love that. But the reality is it's not going to happen quickly. It's not going to happen today. We can start with 100,000. So I just implore you, if you haven't yet done it, sign it. If you have signed it, thank you. Share it with others on your social media. We have, at this point, 208 signatures, and I would just like to give you flavor for that. I live in Lehigh Acres, and there's a sign that I pass twice a day coming and going that we have over 125,000 residents in Lehigh Acres alone. You tell me why Tidal Adam's only been able to get 208 people to say that this is a good idea. If you are a homeowner in Florida and you dedicate your homestead to our state, you should be burning rubber to sign this petition. I'm sorry, but it's true. And we have the tax money to do it for you. I've created the framework. We just need for you to sign the petition so that we can get it in front of the people that matter. Ron DeSantis has said, I'm going to let the people vote on it. I don't trust Ron DeSantis, and I'm sorry, because I think that at the end of the day, it won't make it on the ballot, and we'll do it next year, and Ron DeSantis has gone on to other things. This is a way to force accountability for local politicians and tell them this is what we want. This is a check and balance and a way for us to inspect what we expect. It's my rant. Thank you for letting me talk about it, guys, because it's something that I try to talk about every single time I turn the microphone on.
But I'd love to bring up some points on that.
Please,
because I'm a big advocate. Once you mentioned it, I said, where do I sign?
Yeah, I know you do.
And I think that it's important. You brought up a good point. One, homes aren't what they used to cost. So the fact that we're getting $50,000 homestead exemption, it's not the same. Two, the distraction. Yes, everybody keeps thinking, well, it's going to be eliminated. They're working on it. Governor DeSantis has done incredible work in the state of Florida. We don't know whether he's going to be able to make that change or not. So just waiting around is not effective.
Yeah, and not to jump on you, but he also, Governor DeSantis, had a feasibility study that was designed to study this canceled. And it's a very slippery slope, because I think that the angle that he took was, we don't even need to study it. We're going to put it before the people on a ballot. And I believe that that is just a way to slow it down, get it, basically kick the can down the road. And I think Ron DeSantis has done a lot of great things for Florida. And Ron, if you're watching this, thank you. But I want to see proof, and I want to drive that legislative behavior through documented support from the community. Sorry,
right. So
back in. Yeah.
With the start of changing from 50,000 and increasing that to 100,000, that's a great start. If it just happens to be where he does effectively eliminate that, well, round of applause.
Great. He'll be a hero.
But let's start somewhere. So I encourage people to sign the petition, start here. Your signature will make a difference. Yeah. Like he said, there's just too many of us who own a home that if you're not signing, you're a fool.
Yeah. If I knocked on your door once a year and offered you a check for $500, would you turn me away? You would not turn me away. I don't care who you are, because if you have a lot of money, you could always use more. And if you don't have money, then you certainly need it today. This is real relief that's needed and deserved today.
One more point. I did mention it to somebody else, in passing, and he brought up a good point. He says, I would hate for Governor DeSantis to remove taxes for properties. I said, what? That's the first time I've ever heard somebody. Right. This guy's a conservative. Yeah. He owns a lot of property. So I would assume that he wanted that. He says, you know why? You already have a system in place to generate revenue for the state. Mm-hmm. Where that money goes, that's what I want to solve. That's
a really good point.
And when I saw that yours was 100,000 versus total elimination, I said, that is a good avenue for Adam to help people understand.
Yeah, I think a lot of people visit our state, and if I have family up in Indiana, for example, and if you go up to Indiana and you drive through Indianapolis, the medians are, and I love the Circle City, but the medians are busted up. They've got cracks with weeds growing through them. They're not maintained the way that they are. You drive down Corkscrew Road here where my office sits, and you see beautiful landscaping. You see, curated, just design, and you see very, very appealing stuff. We need money for that. That costs money. We need tax revenue. That's why I say eliminating it, all or nothing, is not the argument. And I think that we just have to be really careful. I think that 100,000 gives us a chance to just look and see. One thing that the government has been doing in Florida is they've been sending in Doge experts into counties, and they're looking at the books, and they're really pressuring local counties and saying you're collecting too much in taxes. And so I feel like that is a diversion thing. It's a look over here, look at what we're doing. The fact of the matter is the homeowner needs relief. And I want to provide a response to the government that says we have to take some kind of an action. We don't want you to stop collecting tax revenue, but here's a way we can do it. And I don't even believe that we would have to take from anywhere else. I think that there are just little items that we could just tighten up on a little bit and pull a little bit from here and a little bit from there. And ultimately, we're talking about county taxes. So this is even at the local level. If you see someone in a restaurant that's a lawmaker or someone that has influence, I'm asking them, hey, what's going on with that?
Accountability. You said it. That's all we want as taxpayers. Accountability.
Yeah.
Where is our money going?
Yeah. Florida is awesome because it doesn't have a state income tax. And that's something that makes us very attractive to businesses coming in. We tax mortgages. I every time I do a deal, I'm sending Uncle Sam or actually Uncle Ron a check for doc stamps and tangible tax and stuff like that. And we need all that, and we want all of that. But I think that working on this project now for a couple of months has allowed me to step away from just Title Adam. Like you were talking about, this isn't a Miniopolis thing. This has nothing to do with Title Adam from the standpoint of where you do title. Any of my peers in the industry should be signing this.
Right.
Any of my competitors, I will say, they should be signing it. Sure. Well, you're not going to enrich me by signing it, but you might enrich yourself. And we work as a community. And I think when we can get behind community advocacy, the Innovate Act, this petition, what we're doing is we're actually creating something that's going to foster success in all of us moving forward. And you know what? Hey, if you happen to do good too, that's great. So I really appreciate the work that you're doing with the Innovate Act. I know that it does have a very big impact on your business, but it has a big impact on my business as well. And the professionals that are listening to this, that are in homeowners insurance, that are in property surveying, anyone that ties and touches your work should really be a raving fan of what you're doing there. What's the next step with Innovate Act?
Keep doing more podcasts.
Talk about it.
Raising awareness. We got to essentially teach the people what is it.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and even in the endorsements, sometimes I notice they don't really take the time to read it and ask questions. They trust that we're doing the right thing. And while I can appreciate that, I'd love feedback. Tell me, what is it about this that could change, that could be better? Because essentially I'm representing you, the public.
Now, have you had anybody come to you though and say, kind of like I was telling you with the petition, where they come to you and go, I would jump behind it, but I want you to do this. Like, I want you to change this or that. Or have you just had pretty much people say, no brainer, I'm with you?
We oddly had I don't want to say any names, but an organization that said, I'd support this, but I don't know about the maximum of 1,200 square feet. And I just questioned this as, why do you want bigger homes?
Yeah.
Is there a certain reason? No, that's just because that's what we build. And I was like, okay, like I get it. The point here is affordable housing. If you can do affordable housing at 1,500 square feet, then go for it.
Yeah.
But if you could, then
yeah.
So just,
I think that's one of the most frustrating things about it, going back to it, is that people would, rather than find common ground on what's good, they would say, well, I need this to be able to do it. And it's a micro lesson in politics for sure when you start to talk to people. And sometimes the people you know best are your biggest critics on it. So appreciate you doing that and really working on it. The Innovate Act, and I ask you this though, Brian, because I don't really know with my petition. I could share that with you. I'm not a petition writer or a lobbyist, so I went on to change.org. I created the petition and started sharing it. What will happen is, at some point, once we hit 100 signatures, change.org stepped in and said, we're going to let decision makers know that, hey, we got 100 people down here talking about it. So that was the first thing. I was really happy about that. And
they did that on their own?
Well, that change.org, basically, they use your signature numbers as a barometer of if it's serious. Right. Like, this is like, sign my petition and not do chores. and then it's like, oh, you got 4, they don't care about that. But if 100 people agree on something, then they feel like there's something, we need to talk about
Pretty
it.
cool service.
Yeah, somebody wants to talk about it. If you go to change.org, I didn't know a lot about them. Their business model is that when you sign, they will say, could you throw a couple bucks towards, don't do that. Don't ever do that. Just sign your name on it and tell them that you'll share it. That's their business model. So I've had friends that are like, hey, not only did I sign it, but I threw 20 bucks towards it. And I'm like, that does nothing to get us closer to where we want to be, right? If you're going to do anything, spend 20 bucks on a Facebook ad, to share it. But anyways, change.org, once it gets to 100, they will actually say, we got an issue here that people are talking about. Then they kind of leave you on your own. So I guess my question is, what do you do once you get a certain level of signatures? I guess it's time to engage the lawmaker, right? Because I've been going more to the actual individual that's getting a tax bill. And I've identified one in particular that is a decision maker politically that I've been talking to about it. And he seemed to be interested in it. Everybody kind of wants to really chew on it. And I feel like a lot of people think about property tax that, well, if you're taking anything away, then it's going to hurt somebody. You have to take from something to give it. How do I get in front of those? How have you gotten in front of politicians?
Lobbyists have the stigma that they're evil people and they're only pushing bad legislator and they're working for, the top echelon trying to push their motives. But man, lobbyists are well connected. A lot of them only do what they really truly support. Some of them, of course, may be bad apples and they'll do anything for a buck. But find a lobbyist that really stands by what you're doing. You'd be surprised that even if they didn't take you on as a client where you're paying them to get in front of all their network that they work terribly hard to get in front of, they'll point you in the right direction if they feel strongly about it. We've been fortunate to have those type of lobbyists point us in the right direction and say, here's your next step. Because we don't raise capital for
Why would they want to help? Why would they be motivated to help you, though, if they weren't being paid by you to lobby?
Again, if they stand by what you're supporting.
Just see that there's,
they'll tell you, hey,
in
I'd
it.
love to represent you. These are my fees. But if you can't pay it, then
maybe try calling this person.
Exactly.
How would I get in touch with how do you find a lobbyist? Is it a firm?
We've got a couple friends who'll hook you up.
I'd love to meet people because, like I said, I on social media, this happens too. When I started off the podcast, I'd have people that would reach out to me and it sounded like something really great. And then it's wrapped in well, here's my fees of all I'm like, oh God, I thought you just wanted to help me get my pocket. And they're like, no, this is my business of what I'm doing. Even knowing that, I still would like to have those conversations with people because what it does is when I've pitched the petition, I'm watching the person I'm pitching it to. I'm watching to see if they're glazing over a little bit, or sometimes they'll kind of give me one of those like, I don't like that. And I'm trying to learn what people do and don't like. But I have to be honest with you, when you have something that you think is a good idea and you've taken it to 1,000 people and 20% agree with you, you start going, well, maybe, am I wrong on that? And I don't think it is. I think it's just that maybe I need to explore the benefit and the value a little bit more to the average person. Right now is the best time to be reaching that taxpayer because they got that trim notice in the mail that tells them what it's going to be.
Grassroots efforts definitely help.
Yeah. I'll be at those networking events and I'm telling people, you saw me bring my flyer last time to it.
Yes, handouts always help. and resonating with the people there, First question, are you a homeowner? Yes. This benefits you.
Yeah.
But Sal has a graduate from FGCU.
Yeah.
And I just recently noticed, and I'm grateful for, Sal has this, I didn't realize that you had this much access in the university, but there's really people there that, in your youth, think about when you were young, what did you stand for? Now, they may not be homeowners to advocate for homestead exemption, but there's something there. And it's just finding that route. But Sal put me on to getting in front of college students.
Yeah, spirit of advocacy.
Yeah.
Especially
Grassroots
since, home prices became not so affordable in this area.
Right. Yeah, so, $500 a year is $41 a month. Is that a deal breaker? I don't know.
HOA fee in some cases.
Especially when you have, recent college graduate, you have student loans, all these additional expenses that are falling on top of you.
Every penny counts.
I think a lot of the graduates that are coming out, early 20s coming out of FGCU right now don't see home ownership as something on their immediate radar, just because they, if nothing else, what they've heard is that it's just, it's so unaffordable right now. But, I think that in the local marketplace in the last week or so, we did see rates kind of dip down a little bit. We did see some people getting some action. We started seeing buyers get off the fence a little bit. I think part of it is just coming to terms that it's not going to be 3% again. Guys, you can wait until the cows come home. It's not going to be 3% again. Let's find a different way to do it.
What did they say? Date the rate, marry the house.
Sure. And that could be a dangerous proposition there in itself. But the truth is, at some point, you just have to understand owning a home costs this, and we may see some short sales yet. We may see some adjustment in our market. But I would say, looking at the rest of the country, I feel really great being a title insurance agent, and with Jade being a real estate agent. I love my life right now. I love the business that we're in and the market that we're serving. As a title agent, I'm almost like the smiling guy at Disney World. There's a line of people coming in and a line of people going, and I'm just like, welcome and thank you, welcome and thank you, and a line that can't wait to get in and a line that can't wait to get out. And I'll be here to help them no matter what the property values do. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some controversy that's come up, and I want to try to be as diplomatic as possible, but it is the scoop. It's what everybody wants to talk about. And I wondered about this before it even came up. I've always wondered how this works. You had recently a situation to where plans for a home that you work very hard to come up with, and that you work with an engineer. You're gonna have to tell me kind of how this story works. But anytime you're in business for yourself and you create a product, you're very protective of that product. And there's certain protections that you can take to make sure that you're celebrated for your design, you're compensated for your design, and that your work is protected, because your work is your reputation. And if you put out a bad product, then that can obviously hurt your ability to earn a living. And so in the last week, you had an issue come up to where someone was taking a product of Miniopolis and they were representing it as their own. And there's a lot of challenges that came with that. And honestly, I thought through it for a while, because I kind of was like, well, I wanted to play devil's advocate on both sides, but I wanted to try to find out from you what the scoop was as best as you can, and how that works in your industry. How do you combat this? Because I think that it happens more than we realize. And when I saw you talk about it, I saw a lot of people jump up and say thank you right away. So tell me what happened last week.
I'll dive into the story itself, but I think the main idea here, or the takeaway, I think better said, is verify your contractors. And this is huge now entering into hurricane season, where we're going to see people like this guy enter our space and take advantage of homeowners. Yeah. So the story is, Sal, I think this guy's a robot. He works 24 hours a day. He texts me in the middle of the night and he says, do you know this guy? And I'm like, no. So we dive deeper and we realize that he's selling 3D concrete printed homes, at least through one avenue that we caught, Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
Using our floor plans. So I'm furious, sure. But rather than just sending the guy to hell,
right?
I was like, let me see how far this guy's going into it.
Yeah.
So I reach out to a few people and I tell them, hey, do me a favor, message this guy, ask him like if you were a customer. And everybody got back to me with similar responses. He was acting as a general contractor, in which he is not. He was acting as an engineer, which he is not, that he engineered those plans. He was acting as the actual manufacturer that manufactured the walls to the homes that we built out of Northport. And he was essentially taking credit for the home that we built, inviting people to the house that we built.
And sending photos of the actual house, and with furniture in it and everything.
Everything. So we don't know when he was there, how many times he was there, how he got in there. And he's sending those internal photos, which it was past the open house. We didn't give him access to it. For sure, the customer didn't give him access to it. How he got it, I have no idea. Long story short, he was sending us all these photos. Yes, look what I did. Look what I did. This is how we did it. We went as far as saying, okay, send us a contract. We're interested in.
Well, because you got to figure out what's going on here. Yeah.
Right. Is he even using my contract? How's it all worded? And sure enough, he sent us a contract. It resembled ours, but it had its differences. You could tell he made some edits. Still not a formal legal contract, at least in our industry. And he was asking for us to sign it and then provide 15% down. So that was what I believe is the catch, what he was looking for out of this. The most interesting part of it is he is a licensed contractor. He's not a general contractor. Big difference there. You cannot promote yourself as a general contractor if you're a certified building contractor. Legally, at least when you're selling it. If you have the licenses, you can say, yes, I obtained that. But he was promoting himself as a general contractor. Big difference,
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what the difference is on that because I didn't know. So you could be a licensed contractor, which would be a sub, is what you're saying, right? And then there's a GC, which is the guy that's over all of it. Is that?
Yeah, so the DBPR is super strict on how they issue licenses. There's 3 different levels. You have a CRC, Certified Residential, which is only residential buildings, no commercial. Then you have CBC, which this guy was, Certified Building Contractor, residential, anything under 3 stories, commercial.
Okay.
And then what we are, a CGC, General Contractor, unlimited, residential, commercial, no height
catch-all.
limit.
Yep.
Right.
Got it.
So
Okay.
he's legally able to build a house. The fact that he took credit for ours is a big
That's
red
the part
flag.
though. So was he? I mean, obviously, you're still working on this.
Yes.
But is this something where the game is to get the 15% and run, or could he access the tools that you have to build it? What would he do? Go and hire you and then just take a?
The interesting part is, so I called the guy, and I couldn't record the call, Florida law, but I'm there taking notes, and every question I had, which is common questions that we get all the time, Sal deals with it more than me, and
You said he sounded exactly like me,
He
right?
sounded like Sal's, replica. So I don't know how much time he's wasted from my staff taking away from other potential sales.
Yeah.
But this guy had it down to a science, literally repeating everything that Sal said.
Wild.
When it comes to, again, his angle, he really had studied us to be able to take that. How far he was going to get or what he was trying to accomplish overall, I'll never know. I'm sure we'll never get that information.
Wow.
But the fact that he set up the website, saying he 3D prints homes, having the license. Again, we don't even know if that license is new or old. We know he has it. We don't know how much experience the guy has.
That's right.
So all I can come to the conclusion right now is that, he wasn't successful in what he was doing. He found the hype. 3D concrete printing is a pretty cool topic.
Yeah, it's definitely something that people are interested in.
ADUs, smaller homes, those are hot topics. And he was using that as leverage to say, hey, I'll figure it out once I have the money in my pocket. But what happens if he doesn't figure it out? Who's the loser there?
Yeah.
The consumer.
And he could be sitting on deposits right now. We don't know.
We don't know.
He doesn't have your deposit, but he may have other ones that he's sitting on.
And another interesting thing is, in the beginning, we really used Facebook Marketplace to promote our homes, and we actually have some active listings on there now, and that's where I found it. So personally, I'm curious to know how he found out about us, probably through Marketplace.
Right.
Yeah, that is because to have been, it sounds like he went to the open house, has photos from it. Like, this is basically scouting out, looking for the Colonel's secret recipe there for the Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know what I mean? It's weird though, because you go, on the one hand, you go like, hire this guy because he knows he's committed, but it's really scary, guys, because in Florida, unlicensed contractors, it's a felony and you will go to jail for it. Our governor has zero tolerance for that. What's weird is when you've got somebody that's straddling gray areas and I am technically a contractor. Honestly, those are the people that I believe should be shut down, because if you are in that gray area,
down.
lock them up, lock them up, man, because I'm telling you that those are people that are preying on the uninformed. They are giving offers that are too good to be true. We see it in hurricane season. This year's not been bad, but usually there's a flood of contractors that come down here, or guys in trucks anyways, that come down to storm chase. And that's worrisome.
Adam, I tell you this, I think anybody's capable of what they set their mind to. But you know what's the problem? There's not enough people with the courage. I don't know if this is allowed on your podcast, but the balls to do it, and stick through it. The number one thing in contracting, the secret to success is answer your call and show up when something goes wrong. Don't ask for more money because you ran out of it. Don't ask for forgiveness and not repair it. You have to show up. So I encourage competition. You know, if you're looking to become a contractor and get into space, get an internship with us.
Yeah.
We'll teach you how to get there. We'll help you. But understand that it takes a lot to have a business like this, especially in construction. That's why we see it all the time. Failed construction businesses.
Yeah, if someone were to come out and that, you know, if you took this all the way down and someone came out and built a shoddy product, that would be devastating to your reputation. And you could tell everyone, you could put it in the paper that it wasn't you, and it wouldn't matter because your reputation was already impacted. And so that's why some of these guys, you go, well, thank God it didn't happen. He didn't get, but you don't know what conversations have been held, what kind of information's been supplied that's not even accurate. It's really tough when you're doing your own work and your own design, because there's questions about whether they could put up a product, but you know, let's say that he could, doesn't mean he's going to do it to your standard. And you make another really good point. Anyone in new construction should be thinking about this. What happens after the closing? You know, are you going to be able to reach out to your builder with questions? Because this is not 2x4s from Home Depot and drywall. This is specialty product, and it's going to take a special person to come back after. The last thing you want to do is have a counterfeit, I'll call them a counterfeit, come in and build something that's not what you thought you were going to get, only to be told after closing you're on your own. Then you call Miniopolis, and Miniopolis says, well, they didn't even do it right the first time. So before we can help you, we need to go back and do it right. It's just
a nightmare for everybody.
It's a nightmare, man. It's a real nightmare. And a guy like me could get snared up in a deal like that and not even realize what was happening because I'm a title guy, you know, so more to come.
Yeah. I mean, after we found the guy and we learned more about it and got a bunch of documentation of all the things he was doing wrong, we set it up. So this is where it gets exciting.
Sting.
This is where you tune in.
This is the clip.
This is the viral part.
So I tell Sal, I said, Sal, you're coming with, but I got some appointments. I'm like, cancel those appointments. You're coming with me.
Yeah.
So we had set up an appointment to meet this guy on site. Mind you, it's not me he's meeting. It's somebody else.
Yeah.
So we had set that up. We get to the job site. And right before getting there, I called the police. I said, look, this is what I'm doing. This is the evidence I have. Mm-hmm. I'm just asking, is this okay? Do you rather be there? Do you rather not? I don't know. I just don't want to be in trouble for this. We will be recording. We'll be recording from street, public areas, totally legal, right? So they're like, we're going to meet with you there.
Yeah.
So we got the cops calling me. I'm 5 minutes away. He's like, oh, we're here, but these guys are saying they're investors. Is it somebody else? And I was like, no, it's them. I go get them. He's like, oh, because they just left in the car. I was like, go get him. That's him.
Lock 'em up.
Well, the cop calls me back, and they pulled over the owner, our customer. He's like, yeah, I got. I'm not gonna say a name.
Yeah.
I got the customer here, and I'm like, no, it's not him. It's the other guys. Sure enough, I pull up right behind. These guys are almost ditching it because the
Something's
cops
going
left.
on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're about to get in their truck, and I'm on the phone with the police, trying to go live on Facebook. The internet is horrible. Sal was a bit tardy, so he couldn't get the...
Yeah, I pulled up a little late. There was like 10 cop cars, lights everywhere. I'm like, is Brian okay?
So right before he leaves, he's like, I wanted Brian, because he knew me. What a surprise.
It's an autograph.
Brian,
Selfie.
I brought an investor. He wanted to come build one of your community of your homes. I'm like, bullshit.
So he kind of flipped it a little bit as though it's
Totally flipped the
you should
script.
be welcoming him with open arms. Yeah.
So right now, obviously, I told the cop, look, I have my story. Take his, then make your decision. So they had him there for a while, quite a while. And I can't wait till we get the police footage. So we submit a records request. They had body cameras. I'm like, I want those. Great for Adam's next
great to put
clip.
it right here. Yeah.
We'll have more information on what they said. We know what they said to us. We don't know what they said to the police officers.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you work really hard to build your name and your reputation. And so it's unacceptable for someone else to step in. And it's funny how they pivot. I brought somebody for you.
I'm so grateful that we had it recorded, and text messages and things like that, because that's the only proof that we had. And if we didn't have that, they could have just went with his
Hearsay.
story.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's
I
just
don't know what this
hearsay.
guy's talking about. Yeah.
So
He with the bigger file wins almost always.
Exactly.
Document. And we're talking about high dollar. The work that you do is important, and it costs a lot of money, and there's revenue there, and we want to make sure that it's protected.
And oftentimes we're talking and brainstorming about how to promote products or what information to share and not to share. Oftentimes I'm like, listen, be transparent. Tell the customer everything. Warn them about things that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be that person that told them and they still made a decision, whether it was right or wrong decision for them.
Yeah. If someone talks to Miniopolis and they end up going to get a second opinion, sometimes those conversations will give them a question to ask that maybe someone that's not as good or someone that's not as equipped will struggle with. And that will just draw the comparison between the two. I'd be curious to see how that one ends up for you.
Well, that's scary. The scary part is, we're open and honest about what we do, what we offer, how we do it. A lot of time, running into instances like this really turns my stomach to say, as a business owner, am I sharing too much?
Yeah.
Should I withhold some information? And, and then the day,
More of a proprietary.
right. But again, I think we all just hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and keep moving our feet forward in any of our businesses. I'm sure I'm not the only one with challenges.
No, and imitation's the highest form of flattery. So, you've got a great product. Obviously, people know that you've got the price point, you've got the size, you've got everything, and the delivery time. And I think that having people flattering you through imitation is one thing, as long as you're protected, but it's also something that keep up the great work and give them something to chase. But if you're interested in building a tiny home, if you're interested in discussing ADUs, which is something new here in Florida, you can get in touch with Brian and Sal. I'm going to put their contact information in the show notes. And of course, you can visit them online. You can tag them in your social media. We told you about that earlier as well. I couldn't end the episode without really giving a shout out to Sal. I actually met Sal at the last networking event that they had at Millennial Brewery. And I had connected with him on social media before, but I hadn't had a chance to really meet with him. So at the brewery, we had a chance to kind of connect and share our stories a little bit. When you're working with Sal, you're working with someone who's a recent college graduate, someone who's now stepped up into a general contractor role, which you said CGC, is that right?
Yes.
Is that the designation? And now I've learned today that there are different layers within that. And so that he is on the BMX, right? You're not on the training wheels. You're the.
But Adam, that's just the beginning. He didn't tell you he's also a real estate agent, licensed real estate broker, has his CAM license, and now a general contractor. I mean, I don't know how we got so lucky to have a winner like Sal.
That's a lot of acronyms. That's a lot of initials at the end of your name. CAM is a big one. Now, just think about how that makes him as a valued member of your team. Yeah, Brian. Wow. Any thoughts about maybe getting mortgage broker, adding that on, Sal? Or
At the moment, I just want to enjoy life a little bit. Maybe down the road, who knows?
yeah, it's like you just won the Super Bowl. You just need to go to Disney for a little bit. So you said FGCU college grad,
Yes.
real estate salesperson, real estate broker, CAM, and CGC. That's awesome.
At 22 years old.
You have a very bright future ahead of you in Florida and certainly with Miniopolis. That's really incredible. And, I have kids that are coming out of high school. Juliet's now out of college and in the business with me. And I can't get enough of that. I want to see the next generation step up. I want to see the new stars step up and tell me to take a week off. Tell me to take a vacation. Tell me it's okay to step aside. I like seeing that. I'm seeing some really, really talented people in Southwest Florida specifically that are walking out of FSW, that are walking out of FGCU, and they're saying, like, I got an idea and I got a voice. And you know what? I bought all of this equipment to build a platform so that people that wanted to do that could come on here, they could come in the house and they can talk about it. And that's exactly what I want to see going forward. So, Sal, I want to congratulate you because,
Thank you.
honestly, the GC is a big deal. And I have some friends that have studied for it. I have some friends that haven't yet passed it. So were you a first-time pass?
To be completely honest, there was one test that gave me an issue,
Yeah.
project management, and a lot of other people who took the test could probably agree with me on
Yeah.
that. But second time, passed it with flying colors.
Yeah, so I took, Cam might be close to real estate. But like when I'm a real estate agent as well. I'm inactive. But when I got my license in 2014, it went like this. I took the class with Larson Ed. I paid $100 for a tutorial. So once you went through the 63 hours, then you had a tutorial that would just prep you for the test. Then you schedule the test, you go in and take the test, and then you forget everything that you learned and start selling real estate. But with contractor, it's a lot different because I know Jade has shared with me that you've got books upon books and books, and it's not memorization so much as it is knowing how to source the information. And you know what? That's great because when you're building these houses 3D, no one's expecting you to memorize everything. What we want to know is that you know how to access the information to correctly, answer the question. But I've also not spoken to anyone that has went through the GC process that said it was a piece of cake. Now, real estate to me was a piece of cake, and the title insurance course was the same. It was a piece of cake. But I've heard that this is a totally different beast.
Yeah, I had to really dedicate myself. I was actually a full-time college student too while I was studying for it. I started in April and I passed everything last month.
And working full time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm working. So
that's really,
it's been a journey.
Yeah,
but I'm happy I did it.
And now you're breathing.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you're an inspiration. I think it's important that people in your age group, I'm like, Sal, you got any friends
Right.
that just like you?
That's it.
And he's like, no.
Yeah.
So and eventually they will transition. I relate to your story where my friends weren't on the same page, but they will, and they'll continue to follow you. So you are a leader in your generation. Yeah. So I think this is a great input. We are hiring right now. If you want to learn from true leaders like Sal, who's hiring and training our new staff, this is your opportunity to really take your game to the next level.
I love that. And I did share on Facebook. I saw that you were hiring. And so if you're interested, guys, this is a great opportunity with a company that is making very big moves here in Florida. And so do you spend most of your day, are you out in the field most of the day, or are you in an office?
To be honest, it's kind of split right now. With the new trainings, I'm kind of mostly in the office, but I try to split it 50-50.
Yeah.
On the field and in the office. I like to make some informative videos of me on the field, just explaining how the process works, because we get a lot of phone calls saying, how do you guys print the walls out? How does it get assembled on site? So I like to share that on the social media. And then, when I'm on the phone with them, I explain it to them and I'm like, check out our website, check out our social media. It's me personally explaining how it's done. So they hear me on the phone and they see me on social media. So I try to create that.
A little bit of both.
Yes.
And then, Brian, are you primarily out in the field during the day, or are you in a showroom or in the office?
Meetings, podcasts, delegations.
On the go.
Yeah.
So what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you then if they want to talk about Miniopolis?
You could call our office, 239-329, sales@miniopolisbuilders.com. Or you could visit our website. We got a form on there where you could fill out your information and one of our team members will reach out to you.
That's awesome. Yep. And we'll put all of that in the show notes below. Guys, if we had a great conversation today, and I think we did, we talked about your upcoming projects. We talked about the Innovate Act and why everyone in Florida should be supporting this act. We're going to put the endorsement link in the show notes below, and I want you to take a moment and sign that. And while you're doing it, I want you to click the next link, which is change.org/homestead100K. Bring that homestead exemption up to 100K and do the right thing for Florida homeowners. It's time to look at a Florida homeowner as a Florida shareholder. That's a free one. You can keep that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
We talked a little bit about controversies in our industry, and we know that it does happen. If you've got comments on that, you can always comment below. And then we wanted to give a final congratulations again to Sal. I can't wait to see what 2025 has yet in the fourth quarter for you guys and for you in the years to come. You will be doing this for years to come, and I think that's really exciting. Brian, you're a great friend. Thanks for being on the show. Sal, thanks for coming on. I'm Title Adam. If you're buying, selling, building, refinancing, hey, if you're doing a deal in Florida, tag me in. I'm local and licensed. I can't wait to help. You're in the house. That's a wrap on Title Adam in the house. Subscribe, share, and tag in Title Adam when it's time to close. You want to be a guest? Book your spot. The link's in the show notes.